we're just little balls of energy, so they love to start off energetically speaking. So as you know, things are very peaking, so you might start to feel a lot of movement. A lot of that movement has to do with Mercury and the sun and Uranus, and then we've got Gemini in the 10th house that's coming up, and then we've got the Cazimi on the 17th. So where you may have felt stagnant, or where you may have felt confused, or not that you have much direction or guidance here, all right, now there's that momentumous type of energy that is kind of coming about. There are multiple changes in multiple ways. This is the paradigm at play. What I mean by that is the moment that you make a choice to change something, okay, you're now seeing the relevance in the universal play. You now are seeing that energy. That's why a lot of the Six of Cups and Six of Coins and stuff like that you guys may be seeing from readers and stuff like that is coming back and forth. It's because it's the universal reciprocity, because you've hit a new level of frequency, of understanding, of knowing, of being in a different type of elevation, right? So like you're no longer in demand. So this is what the part of the message is right here. You're no longer demanding things, which means when you come with hope and heart and open intention, you're a lot more available to receive things. You don't put a limitation on a belief system of how you think that thing is going to come through or how that thing is going to work out for you. It really starts by you watching what you speak, and then your perceptions change in environmental situations, and that's why you have the experiences that you do in the situations that you do, in order to have the experience to not only teach you what not to do, but to become more aware of yourself, more clarity, more Christ in tuned. Okay, and so one of the biggest messages that's been coming up, thank you guys for so much for your love. I greatly appreciate it. There is no you without me, and there is no me without you. So if I didn't have an audience to speak to, there'd be no reason for me to show up. So thank you for being here, and your presence is greatly appreciated and warmed, welcomed as well. So thank you to each and every one of you that are here with me right now, 11:11 on the clock. So at this time, what you're seeing is you're seeing a dimensional time shift. The reason that you're able to actually see and perceive this time shift in your reality is because you're on the frequency. Now, there has been many prophecies in which I have spoken of, and now you're seeing those things in relevance come out to play in the physical. Okay, so I'm talking about prophecies from 2, 3, 4 years ago that now you are seeing others speak of out of nowhere. Okay, so these are the things that you're seeing on a collective level that are happening, but the way that you perceive them, the way that you believe them, the way that you energetically play with them is what your frequency is being attuned to. So that's where you are reclaiming your own power, your own sovereignty. That's why it was so important for you to establish boundaries within groups and families and yourself, and redynamically change the structure of the cells in your brain. Now, not a lot of many people know this, but I'm a special type of being, and with my understanding and my knowledge and my wisdom, I'll let you guys in on a key component. Everybody talks about the pineal gland and decalcifying the pineal gland and opening up the pineal gland, okay? Yes, that is big, but that is only big for health awareness. That is also big for you to have foresight and be able to see and receive information, okay? Because we receive intuitively through our head brain, our heart brain, and our gut brain, but what we see in the pineal gland and the foresight that we can have gives us the clarity and the capability. So that's why you work so much on your third eye. But there is a connection in which you seek, in which not a lot of many speak of, that the divine wants me to speak of here to you today. There is a group and a netting of neurotransmitters within your brain. And that group and that neural netting of transmitters, I teach my Egyptian Reiki students this. So if you want to learn something or two about what you're truly connecting to and how to truly connect to that, you can ask my Reiki students how that is and come join me in Reiki class, all right? But long story short, what you are doing is you are reopening a group of neural networking, okay, of cells within the cerebellum. Now, the reason why Egyptian and Egyptian culture comes from is because that's where you stem from. It's the understanding, it's the connection, it's the unity, it's the Neberu, it's the Nader. It's because the Egyptians understood and perceived the Paul Nader, the knowing, the wisdom. Isis has a connection and was the divine representation of the divine feminine, the wisdom, the knowledge, the creation. She was adapted here in physical form to help us in representation, knowledge, wisdom. This connection is what they call the throne of Isis, and that's why the throne sits on top of her head before the wings, before she restored, okay, Osiris, all right? She also is the representation of the knowledge and the wisdom. Now, this connection is what you are opening up in the neuron transmitters of your brain. That connection is what's connecting you to the Paul Nader, the Christ consciousness, the all-knowing. Because it's not just one paradigm or one frame. It's the universal consciousness in the divine Sophia frame and the Christ frame in the Christos. So the divine intertwining of what we've always talked about, you know, the transmission that I received of inner earth, outer earth. Inner earth and outer earth are about to merge. This will no longer leave your voice unheard. The inner you, the outer you, your higher self, I think you call that to be true. This is the mergence of all three, your prism, right? And so they want me to read prophecy to you right now, so I will read prophecy to you right now. And they've asked me to finally release the full prophecy that I've received over the years, but they're having me do it in a transmission style, in a way in which it is received authentically. And the first video they allowed me to post on YouTube early this morning. The second one I'm in recording of right now, because the way that they want me to conduct, in which the way it is said is very important for things to be conveyed from my understanding. So you have to understand it's coming from a very deep, authentic space, because these things were given to me over time and space. It's not just one part, one piece, one paradigm. So we're going to start here, and they want me to start backwards, okay? So we're going to start backwards. We're going to go backwards to forwards. We're going to start with inner earth and outer earth. Now, there's more to the bottom of this, and this is into the depths of what comes next. But it's not finished yet, and this is what I'm working on and have been working on in the background for a little while now, because it comes in intermittently. So it's a certain type of connection. It's a certain type of frequency in which needs to be had by me in order to allow that connection to be received. So here we go. Inner earth and outer earth. So inner earth and outer earth are about to merge. This will no longer leave your voice unheard. You found peace in the silence. You left behind so much spiritual violence, only to become vulnerable once more. That left you on your knees in front of my door. Voices churned as your emotions burned, trying to find peace in the silence once more. Tender pieces finally put together in one frame, not from disdain, but because you finally remembered your name from which you came. The demons in your brain from which you came, you had to learn. The spirits of disdain already knew your name as you came to complete your destiny once more. Turning the pages, you learned from the sages how to find peace in the silence once more. Moving away from spiritual violence, you knew your life was never going to be a bore. The energies of the enemies knew when you were born. This is the meticulous beginning of our sequel. You had to learn that you were not all created equal. Your light and your frequency with that of mine. This I had to teach you in due time. And soon you would learn that everything would turn out fine. Trusting the process puts you humans in such distress. This time is not equal. That's why it's the beginning of our second sequel. You are my people. The spaces in the in-between is where you had to sew up the seams so your light could not be seen. You have come so far from who you are to what you are. This is the most growth I've seen thus far. You had to come back home to me and no longer flee from what was inside of you and me. I am your equal. I created the heavens and the earth and all the plants that reside. Put your differences aside and come alive. Everyone transitions, which is what you call death. But not everybody lives and gives to the one that gives to you. The one who gave to you. I reside in each and every one of you. The merging of the two, the inner you, the outer you call that your higher self, I think, to be true. Inner earth and outer earth, the heavens and the earth will merge once more. No longer will this cycle be born. It was all part of the perfect storm in the process in which you forget. Don't worry, it's nowhere near over yet. There is plenty of time to reflect and process all that you are. And once your knees hit the floor, you'll remember once more. It's true. I created the heavens and the earth with the help of your birth. The seed of creation, or did you forget? In the beginning it was us and we were it. I, you, wanted to experience it. Time and space is what took place from many different frequencies that allowed it to be brought on by the seed, which then became the word to be. The Divine Mother planted the seed of creation. Your Mother Earth that I created was never meant to be a way station. You were born to create. You were born to have fun. You were born from the light. That's where it begun. The sands of time have clogged your mind. Frequency turned to words, left your voice unheard. You forgot all that you learned when you emerged. Time and space is what took place. You were never meant to be erased in this densely lit place. You came to your senses with divine comprehension. You reinforced your prism, clearing out the masses. You chose to finally take off your rose-colored glasses. Your mind raced as your heart stood still, not knowing then what would take place. Red pill, blue pill, no choice at all. Waiting for time and space to fall, wondering if and when you would hear your call. Come the one and come the all as your mother's voice stood tall. You knew the answer, and you heard your call. The fire, the flame. Call it what you want here, your words are all the same. The masters and the spirits already know your name. It's an imprint through all time and space. Do you even remember from which dimension you came? How come you don't even know or remember your truest of name? The one the Creator gave you in all of its light when it birthed you in all of its sight. Time stood still the day you were born. You came out perfect. You were never meant to be torn. You were made to believe what your human eyes could perceive. Don't you see the light I gave you is inside of me? Make no mistake. Oh my, how you have grown. It shows in your smile, a newfound home. The tides have turned, and oh, what a mess. What did you think, I was not in distress? Did you think I would forget? My children have come from wide and far. A uniting of their tongues will soon roar. The trumpets will sound and be silenced no more. In perfect peace and harmony once more. No longer can you claim my land, you see. It was never yours to begin with. It's what you made it out to be. Oh, how you have disrespected the one you call God, who is truest in nature. I sent my son in physical form to represent me. To be the protector, to fill the divine prophecy, to complete the sacred sectors of geometry. He did exactly what I asked of thee, but you personified him, persecuted him to be, turned him into a sacrifice because you were scared of thee. But this time I made the order taller, that he comes back as she, all in divine order, you'll see. A gift to my children. A peaceful presence will return. Justice for all was my bond and my word. The Creator has watched all that you have done. Did you think you would get away with your fun? Torture, slavery, and greed from day one. Don't worry, your judgment day will come. You have taken way more than what you need. This will no longer be a place of greed. No matter what race, lineage, color, or creed, my children have come to unite, you see. Under my grace, you took from every age, race, and gender, people suffering while you danced in a splendor. Not thinking that my children of the light would catch on to your demise. Divide and conquer was your prize. The war you made was on their minds, only to trap their souls as your prize. There is one you could not trick, the Creator, the all, the infinity. Can't you see the tables have turned? You better run quickly. You made my children forget the prophecy through your words you used as frequency, your lies and unspoken truths that you hid from thee. But you forgot the Creator can see every nook, every cranny, and every thought to be, for it wrote the divine prophecy of eternity. My children have come to unite, you see. I put out a grand call for a great awakening. Come the one and come the all. My heart beat that grounds their feet. My lands, my rivers, my plants and trees. What a sweet treat, but they have forgotten what connects them all to me and you. A dream, some think, that won't come true. Far-fetched, they think, but that's the key. Divine intervention no one can see, but the truest of eyes and hearts that beat. We returned the call, we knew the answer. The 144 was the answer. From every lineage, race, dimension, and creed, for they remember the code to beat, as they have walked this path since the beginning of eternity. I hid them this time, near and far. For every 1 million, there's only 3. I was way smarter than you could believe. We also gathered those that carry the feather and the rose. They come from faraway places of many backgrounds, colors, and races, not from these familiar places. They are here to spark the masses, to create a higher expansion. And this is what you call rapid ascension. Although this has been going on for a while, you are seeing it way more, feeling it way more. The connection is way more. What you're connecting to is way more. What you're developing to is way more. What you're perceiving is way more. What you're believing is way more. What you're able to do is way more, because you are in the reciprocity of the universal flow of the divine energy. And in order to be able to receive, you have to be able to perceive. But only are you able to perceive once you're able to relieve yourself of the limitless limitations and societal beliefs that you put yourself in continuously, and you allow yourself to put yourself in those loops continuously. Is it easy to get out of? No. No. But once you have the awareness of what not to do, you then come to a new level of what not to do in that experience. So then it becomes easier. It's like practicing to, you know what I'm saying? Make a 3-point shot for the first time. The first time that you take accountability, does it suck? Yep. But does it come easier? Yep. The first time that you realize that you don't want to be a certain way, or you don't want to do a certain thing, or that energy no longer vibes with you, then you change that thing. The perception is the miracle change. The perception is the miracle. Once you change your perception, then everything outside of you then becomes a deeper, different reflection. And as soon as you're able to no longer emotionally tie yourselves to circumstances or scenarios, you elevate yourself to a higher level of awareness and cells in the development of the Christ consciousness. So you had to merge the inner you, the outer you, the divine feminine, the divine masculine first within you. This is why when I spoke about the rising of the divine feminine with the great mind crossover 2 years ago, the feminine were rising then. They started to rise 2 years ago. Okay? Now they are stepping into the energy. Now we are not talking genitalia here, people. We are talking energy. So it does not matter your genitalia in this department. What matters is the energy. So the Christos had to occur inside of you first. But first you had to remove all of the emotional this and all of the emotional that to actually be able to perceive what was available to you based upon your own perceptions and your own belief. Now, there's not just one dimension that we're dealing here with, people. Anybody that told you that it's just a two-way split, they don't understand what they're perceiving. There are multiple dimensional shifts, but the way that we speak about it in an easier context for humans in a frequency that don't fully understand the expansion process, okay, we bring it down to a level of being able to receive it. There's going to be multiple splits based upon what you perceive and what reality you believe. It's not just going to be one. So you're going to feel that shift from 3D to 4D energy. Then what you're going to do is you're going to see and feel another pivotal shift, okay, between those places splitting in that frequency. I hope that makes sense, because it's not just an up here, it's here as well. So based upon that frequency, there's going to be different paradigms within that frequency of belief systems, but they're all in the same energy frequency body of pretenses, okay? So now this is why you're feeling more and more out of alignment, but you actually are in alignment, but you feel more out of alignment because you're no longer, okay, you're no longer on consignment. Your body's no longer on consignment, so you might feel like you feel disembodied more than ever. You feel more closer to spirit. You're in more of a spiritual devotion to self. If you need help mentoring or ministering, or you need healing, reach out to us, okay? But in those places and spaces, what you're doing is you're moving to the next level of awareness of what has ascended within your very cells. And you can go check out a couple of the transmissions in previous videos. This is what's igniting in your very cells. The Christos, the Christ consciousness, everything that always was, everything that always has been, and everything that always will be coming back to life again. Okay, so your realities are changing based upon the dimensions in which you're able to perceive in that energy. Now, this is why a lot of you have the energy of all the new beginnings. Everything's new, okay? Part of this energy is because of the planetary alignment that we are going through right now. Okay, the Cazimis that are coming in, the Geminis in Uranus, and the conjunctions that are coming in. There is a lot of movement and a lot of activity in May, especially from now to the end. These are the shakeups. These are the makeups. These are the breakups. These are moving you into your destiny. It's all a part of divine order, right? And so it's things you've manifested, but where did that divine intention intervention come into for you to have the idea to manifest through you? It came to you in vision, or it came to you through verbiage, or it came through you to feeling like you needed to do that thing, right? Well, that thing is also a part of your blueprint, which means it's a part of your destiny. Now, we used to have to always reach and feel like we had to learn and we had to know and we had to discern. We had to reach and reach for this awareness to be learned. Now the awareness is coming from within. And so the folded maps are no longer in hand. They're coming from within. So this is all about the feeling of the energy of the divine feminine leading the way. You can no longer think yourself through things. It's I feel like I need to do this thing. I feel like I need to do that thing. Thank you, Rob, so much. And so what you're learning is divine trust. Now, this has been a big message that the divine has brought through me. And, it's about surrenderance. So a lot of people have an issue with the verbiage in the word. And so the surrenderance here is not only part of the silence, but it's the willingness to hear. And it's the willingness to, I'm going to use a word that's going to trigger you guys, hear me out, obey. Okay? Now, it's not a bad thing. But when the divine asks you or gives you guidance to do a thing, okay, and you go a different route, or you feel like you know better, right? You're leaning into your own understanding, right? Okay, so then the divine will reroute you, right, back to where you probably were in the beginning, because where you were trying to go to is of your own understanding, not the divine's understanding, right? So what you guys are coming to is this thing full circle, where you're leaning into more of being able to feel where that is that you're supposed to go to. So there's not a lot of thinking right now. It's the energetic body that's telling you where to go or how to lead that thing, because you were leaning into your own understanding of how to always do things, instead of being in the reciprocity of the energy of the universal flow of the divine to give you the way to go. Now, this is the difference from doing spirituality to being spirituality. You are no longer doing spirituality. You are being spirituality. You are being in divine consciousness. You are correct. I am the magic. And so even though those have been waking up for I've been in the energy since I was about 7-8 years old, is when I started to have spirits come to me, and I started there. And a lot of us did do that, but a lot of others inhibited in body, is what I like to say, okay, in another dimensional time sign and space, for us to really start and set this thing off, to start the rapid ascension back in 2020, right? And then others shifted in 2012, and others shifted in 2017. So there's been a lot of paradigm shifts, right? And you're correct. correct. Our whole lives have prepared us for this and for the connections that we're making without apprehension anymore. And so it's leading into the divine knowing, right? But you don't necessarily know where you're going. You just know that where you're being led is the way that you need to go. There's no more apprehension. There's no more questioning. There's no more self-doubt, and there's no more self-reckoning, right? There's been a lot of shame and disdain within yourselves that's been removed, and it all came crashing down, just like the walls of Jericho, in that way, and it's been profound. And so many of you have had epiphanies, realizations, and that has a lot to do with Neptune. And the only planet that we have in retrograde right now is Pluto. Pluto's the only one in retrograde. Venus finally moved out of her shadow and went direct. You know what I mean? So the ascension process, you remember when I told a few of you that are in here, remember this, when I showed you and told you that I had premonition and had vision of Jesus holding an American flag with a brand new baby in it, and it was January, February, and it was around 2026, like this new year that was coming in. And that was months and months and months ago. And so now we understand and know why it's happening. We had the great mind crossover, okay, the rise of the divine feminine within each one of you inside. Now the masculine is having to elevate and meet her. Okay, so the masculine side is having to elevate and meet her now and submit in certain ways, okay, that was not done in past ways, past pretenses, because the mental state of the mind, the ego, the mind, the mental mind, the man mind, okay, is inside your head. It's your thought process, right? So that's why you are no longer understanding that you've never been human. You've always been being, but they tacked human on top of it because that's not nice, Chief. Chief said we're a bunch of inbreds. He's got a sassy ass to him this morning. Sorry, guys. All right, but because we've been replicated in so many ways, and our DNA's been messed up in so many ways, okay? So forgive him. He's got a sense of humor. I know you guys understand it, but some people take offense to it, and I don't want to offend anybody that doesn't know my Chief, okay? That doesn't understand his ways. So I just needed to speak that openly and compassionately as well, because this is a safe place and a safe space of unity for everyone. We are the Hopi prophecy. And for those of you that know, I'm a quarter Hopi and a quarter Lakota. So therefore, the prophecy of what I know is coming through. So the star people are where there's the interactions. The birth of the new America is where Saturn and Neptune are at 0 point. Okay, they're at 0 degrees in alignment with the sun. Now that's happening next year, January, February of 2026. Okay, that 0 point is the creation. That's the gravity station. That's the creation station. We're getting a little taste of it now. March 25th, thank you, Spirit. Okay, March 25th, we're getting a little taste of it where Saturn moves into that energy with Neptune in Aries, okay? But it's not at the 0 or 1 degree point. I don't know what degree it is, but it's not close enough yet. But we're getting a taste of it, okay? And then it's going to come back through and set in January and February of 2026, and it's going to be at the 0 creation point. Now, this is when there's going to be massive amounts of activations, okay? Starlight codes is what they're giving me. You guys are moving into this. All of you have the ability and availability to tap into Isis, that knowledge, that wisdom. That's the neurotransmitters in the brain, the cells in the brain that the Egyptians understood. This stuff is stuff that they understood and that they worked with. The Paul Netter was the divine that was connected to all things and everything, and then the atom was birth and all of that. And so it's a big, long story. And so if you don't know, you probably should by now and research a lot of those things. And if you need help with those things, you can reach out, and I'll be more than able to, direct you in that way as well, down that pathway, if that's something you're interested in. But it's more of the inner standing, the inner guidance, more of the Godhead, okay? And that's the divine connection. Now, you had to, of course, decalcify all that, the foresight, to be in knowing, to be in clarity, because if you don't have clarity, you're not going to be able to receive the wisdom or the knowledge that you're asking for. And a lot of people want to know and want to understand why breakthroughs haven't happened yet. And it's like such a demanding energy right now to be in a place of sacredicity, to be in a place of connection, to be in a place of moving forward with your divinity, of your sacred goals, or the ways that the divine has intervened in your pathways is what's being given to me. So you're focusing on that energy right now, and so it's as if there doesn't need to be anything spoken. It's all heartfelt, and this is part of the heart chakra opening wide open, which is a part of the Christos, the Christ consciousness, and you being able to receive the energy of the neural pathways. A lot of you had headaches. A lot of you had tons of euphoria. Man, I'm not trying to put myself out there on blessed, but, I experimented when I was a kid, not with many things, okay? I was really scared of many things as a kid. I was scared because I was raising myself, so I was scared of getting in trouble, right? Because I knew nobody would be able to be there to fucking help me out, bail my ass out, let me put it that way. But I experimented once when I was a kid in that way. And so, the what I experimented with at that time, I did not like it at all because it came from a very heady place, but yet my body was in a place where I just couldn't move, and I was on the floor petting a bear rug for a long time. So, but my head, I didn't like the way that my head felt. So the euphoria, a lot of you explain it like drunkenness, or a lot of you, I like to explain it like my brain is scrambled like a snow TV, and any of you that had the old, pliers and Gen Xers understand what I'm saying. The antenna's made out of foil. So, long story short, it's like that's what it feels like in my head, right? And then you also feel like you're moving, right? And that's how you know that you're moving into another paradigm, another frequency, okay? So you're matching energy, right? So you're matching that energy. We've had a lot of spikes over the past 2 days, and solar class flares that have been hitting us too. This is all divine orchestration. Okay, it's been divine orchestration. Your blueprint is significant to you. Nobody can steal that blueprint. Nobody knows that blueprint. Anything that has produced fear in your life is something that is produced in a way to put you or consume you in that low vibrational energy. Okay, and what better way, let me tell you this. The devil is not real. The energy is real. Demons, real. Okay? In that way, you have to understand that the energy is always going to get you to try to come to a lower pathway, a lower standard. Anything that you can fear, it's going to get you to fear, because then that puts you in the vibration of that state. Any anxiety, any fear. So don't take the bait. Okay, don't take the bait. Anybody pisses you off in the next couple of days, people are showing their asses. It's Mercury, it's the energy, aggression, fiery, passion. Okay, pray for clarity, pray for direction on which way to go to use that energy. Put that in a creation, energetic vibe, okay? Because people are going to be very reactful right now, but you've learned not to be reactful. You've been obedient to have the willingness to the surrenderance. We went backwards, sorry. So when you're asked to surrender equals willingness. Willingness means that you're willing to be in obedience of what the divine has asked you to do or led you to do. And you had to clear out the masses in order to remember thyself, to be true to thyself, to reconnect thyself to a higher aeroplane of existence in which your time frame truly remained. So coming from a higher dimensional plane to a lower dimensional plane back to a higher dimensional plane goes back into verbiage and words that they've given me before, which is everything that was done to you, you had to undo to redo yourself. And I know that many of you remember that message as well. So there's a few people here that need some things today, and we're going to dive into those things. All right, if you guys need help, reach out. Link is in the bio, okay? You can hit up the website directly. You can also get in tune with me through Linktree. All right, things are changing and developing as well on my end with where I'm being led and things that I'm being led to do. So just bear with me as those changes are moved through, okay, as well, especially with things being rebuilt and redone. So we're about to have some fun here, and let's see who needs what today. Thank you all for being here. So it's a lot of divine, sweet. So there's a lot. Thank you, Steph. I got you. Aww. 70, that was sweet. Thank you. If thank you, that was very sweet of you, Steph. Um, wow, what a compliment. I just gotta sit for a minute. Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you. That touched me, Steph. All right. So let's see what we can do for you. There's a redirection, okay? And you're confused. Okay, so the redirection is a reflection of you is what they're telling me. Okay? The redirection is a reflection of you. Bear with me. Okay? This is why you feel like you're severed too. Because there's something that you missed, so they're taking you backwards. It's like there's something that you missed about you that they're taking you back to revisit, to work through, to break through. Okay? This is a form. Oh, Stephanie, I love you. They just gave me the message to receive. Thank you. This is beautiful because this is where you have not forgiven yourself. You've been asking and asking and asking and asking for forgiveness for everyone else. And you've been coming through in full intent and sincerity of the inspiration or the connection that you want to break through with the divine. But the way that your heart's leading you is you're not forgiving yourself. Like there's a level of trust and forgiveness that you're trying to get to within yourself is what they're showing me. And the forgiveness, you haven't forgiven yourself, but you've forgiven everyone else. So you need to forgive yourself because then you are forgiven. I hope that makes sense to you. And so you've already forgiven everybody else, but in order to get your breakthrough, you've got to forgive yourself, honey. There's a level of trust within yourself that you've built that has become a defense mechanism, my dear. You hear with your ear, but you can't hear, which means you're not resonating with the energy that is trying to be brought your way. There's a resilience here in this pathway, my dear. Okay. Now I'm going to work some energy here with you, Steph, personally in vibration. If you could take a deep breath for me. Okay, we're going to get some of this energy moving, and this is a release. Okay, this is where you've been apprehensive about belief, though. It's almost like a spiritual identity crisis again that you're getting to on a deeper layer from a wound within. It's the way that you perceive this spiritual identity with the religious identity of a belief system that you are grieving, that you're having to open up to as well, because you feel shame and guilt because of the relationship that was not cultivated, but the way that it was put on yourself in the pathway in which the paradigm that you were living in at the time, you started to build resentment to Jesus and to the collective because of the religious dogma and context here. And so then that is where you need to ask for forgiveness for yourself. Holy mercy. Hoo-wee. Because you don't feel that you're worthy of the connection, because you are like Paul or Peter in the reflective of denouncing that energy, so you don't feel as though that you're worthy for that connection. Thank you, Divine Sophia. Whew. We are working on removing that energy right now within your body and your embodiment. Okay, now you're going to feel this push from the solar plexus through the heart chakra. Now, it's not going to come up and out of your heart chakra. We're going to work through its existence here through the throat, okay? So you're going to burp shit up. You're going to feel nauseous for a minute until we break through this push through here, me and you, okay? And then it's going to flow around your crown. Your ears and your equilibrium are going to open up. You might hear a high-pitched sound. And then we're going to push it through the crown. And then we're going to ground you back down, okay? So there are going to be some symbolizations that you are going to see, feel, and you are going to feel this energy here come through the embodiment of you. Now, when I work with your embodiment of your auric field, but also your chakra system, I'm not working with one dimension here of your embodiment. I'm working on the vortex as a whole, the front and the back side. So you're going to feel me in front and back. You're going to have euphoria. You're going to be hungry. You might even be tired after this. Allow the codes to be accepted by your body. Don't question it, because part of this authenticity that's trying to break through you is the authenticity, Steph, of you also receiving what it is that you need to receive for the divine codes in you to be activated through you as well, okay? So this is just where all of this has been brought up, and this is what's to the surface that you can't break through. So we're going to intend the breakthrough right now. Divine Holy Spirit and the Ascended Masters at this time, Paul Nader and the Divine Sophia, I call to you, and Saint Germain. Help me along these pathways at this time. To help this soul remember her name and the divine reflection in which she came. She is true and authentic, and her soul needs a little bit of help and expansion here as we move through this energy here. Take a breath. Thank you. Through your throat. Hold on, your head's going to feel heavy. Thank you. And there we go. There it is. There's a release off the shoulders. There it goes. Beautiful. All right, so you're actually going to smell a lot of things too, because this is connected here to the aromatherapy. So your olfactory system's going to kind of be going off, and you're going to smell everything. Like you may smell dog poo-poo like 2 blocks down the way. This is also allowing you to smell when spirits or demons are at play, okay, here, ma'am? So I want you to know that your apprehension of your identity and you being shameful and guilty about the way that you played into or did not play into the religious dogma in which you were birthed into, the identity, and it's the Christos identity loss that you're coming back into with forgiving yourself of the limiting beliefs that you've been through as well. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. Here we go. Thank you, Stephanie, for allowing me to work with you and through you as well. All right, Miss D, I love you too. There's a lot of high energy, and they just don't want you to get ahead of yourself, okay? So you're really excited. You've got a lot of built up energy, and this is beautiful because you have a lot of intuitive direction and guidance that are coming to you in reflective now. There's been like 3 different branches, 3 different breakthroughs that you've been through. And in this way, there were things that were apprehensive because of energy that couldn't be at play. Your aura is very green right now. So this is very soothing. This is very connective. This is very natural and organic and reflective to the growth process that you've been in within your perspective is what they're showing me and giving me right now. The elevation in which you seek is at its peak. So now we need to just ground it all in and hone it down. There's a lot of excitement in which you are peaking at, and so they just don't want you to get ahead of yourself, but you're taking the necessary steps in forward progress. Don't push anything to develop here, because nothing right now should be coming at a cost to you with all that you already have lost, right? So you're in that energy of making sure that it's a divine reciprocity. There's a lot of energy that you are picking up right now within you collectively as well. And I don't know, there's a female around you that is leaning on you heavily, which is also then reflective of you leaning on someone else heavily. It's okay. It's just showing me the cycle of energy that's moving through the embodiment of you. So there's an energy around you that's leaning on you heavily, and there's going to be a few more too. And then that is where you and why you are leaning onto others heavily, if that makes sense to you. Okay, so you're being prepared as well to physically move and there's a snail in front of me. So it is a very slow process, but you've got this buildup of energy that's like, I gotta do that, I gotta do it. Slow it down just a little bit. Enjoy the sound, which means enjoy the frequency, right? And allow yourself to not be bound. Don't bind yourself into anything, okay? So try not to bind yourself into anything because there's no reason to right now. Allow the rest of the season to kind of flow is what they're saying here, which is the end of May. So like there's a big shift. There's a tornado wind. I mean, it's not a tornado, but it's the wind, right? That is coming in a circular motion of a tornado. And that's just the energy that's kicking up. That's the action. That's the communication that's acting up too. So they're giving me a prism, of course, right now, but they're showing me the reflective sides of the prism. And this is just you in connection to you. And this is your universal light codes that you're seeking through. So there's a universal light codes that you're seeking right now. And you're seeking, thank you, you're seeking these light codes because there's something you don't understand or don't know. But you're doing it in a way which it's apprehensive and it's playful right now, is what they're giving me here, right? And I don't even know that you know that you're doing this because this is more astral spirit work. So if your body feels tired, it's because you've been doing a lot of that work within your desires is what they're showing me. Sorry, I just was able to pull out of the vision. Devoided. Hold on. Devoided. Devoided. There's 3 different messages here with that statement. Devoided something. Okay? So, devoided. Devoided something. Okay? Also at the same time, if something was voided, it's now been reinstated. That's the other energy behind the verbiage of devoided. There's the second vibration of what was meant through. And also, the other pretense of that is you also avoided a situation too. So, those are the 3 messages behind that word and that pretense. They just showed me a vision of a donkey. And it's like the statement from Shrek of donkey on the ledge is coming to me, but it's because you're ready to go. They're making me draw the cornucopia. You know the horn that the Celts and the Norse would blow? Okay, they're giving me that horn. You're ready to go. You're on the ledge, okay? They're trying to make sure that you avoid something, that you also are bringing back something that once was voided. It's being reinitiated. And then you also voided something. There's a contract that you voided here that you don't want back. So there was energy there where you devoided a contract because you don't want that energy and you don't want it back. Okay? Is what was given to me too. As well. Alright? And yeah, there's a voided contract. This contract was once enacted, but you voided the contract. It's like, nope, I voided this. It's a stamp of canceled is what it is. The void of the shadow aspect, it's just where you work and you work best. That's just you. That's just the energy that you work with. That's just the energy that you know best. That's the energy that you know how to process best for other people. So you work in the void as well because of the shadow. And it's not a darkness thing. A lot of people pretend that it's a darkness thing, but you are very well and wise for helping others excel when it comes to such things as how demonic energy plays upon those in spirituality. Becoming the master as well of your own reality, the oneness within the self. But the void was because of the voided contract. There also was a contract that was devoided that is coming back around again. And there is something that was avoided as well. So a lot of the energy is asking multiples of you to definitely take action in different ways, but it's a very nice methodical action, right? It's not a jumping into, it's more of a reflective pace and space where you're being led into it. That's part of as well from being spirituality and doing spirituality to embodying it. It's the embodiment of the receiving, right? And the believing and the understanding that all is in divine timing, all is within divine timing, everything is always happening within divine timing, but we can't see that from the human perspective, which is the ego perspective, not the being perspective. All right, a lot of things were force fed. Take that for what you want to take it for. When I say that, that can mean many things. All right, so you frequencies, food, whatever it is that you choose to put that label on, I allow you to develop through the own energy and allow you to decipher it and discern for what it is sometimes by what they mean, unless they ask me to give explanation, which they'll give me another way to explain it. Just the way in the level that we break things down here for everyone in unison to understand, and overstand equally. So there's just different dimensional realities. So there's the split. That's part of that shift that you guys are all feeling, that you all are preparing for. You're preparing for the shift. So you're in preparation. And that was about a lot of the messages that came through yesterday and the day before, right? So it's the Christos. It's the Christos awakening. So a lot of things can't be hid anymore. You're going to see it play out throughout the collective and reflective. But as long as you stay in the high vibrational of the energy, right? You don't allow yourself, and a lot of you are putting up a lot of boundaries. There's a lot of boundaries that are up, right? Like, nope, don't have time for that emotional bullshit. Oh, well, looks like you have to solve your own problem, not mine. Sorry. There's a lot of cutting off ties, too. So you've learned that once you cut the emotional tie, the energy frees up for you to be able to perceive something new, receive something new, a person, place, or thing, or something that you have manifested or wished for to its come through. So in all of spirituality, there's a higher combination of okay, thank you. There's a higher combination of context, which they're saying is a physical representation of things that you have wished for or wanted or manifested through. Saturn is physical. So Saturn represents the physical, and Saturn has a lot to do here with the energy at play. So this is one of the reasonings that the physical is being brought into play in your reality. Okay? So many of you are feeling a heaviness in the crown and the head. That's a divine, energy and information. Make sure that you cleanse and clear your aura as well. All right, and a lot of people say go ground and give that energy to Gaia, but really Gaia is really there of the supportive energy, and you are coming back into connection with the natural rhythm and elements of that vibration. When people say ground your energy, right, it's about bringing your emotions back to 0 point, bringing your mind back to 0 point, where you are in a place of stillness. Everybody says ground your energy, and half the people don't even understand what that is, and they just think it's going outside and putting their feet in the ground. You're bringing yourself back to awareness, to presence, okay, in balance, in the emotional space, and in the mental space too. So it's going back to that 0 point within yourself to not be off balance. So let's say something quote unquote triggers you, right? And you pop off and you're in some negative energy, right? Think about it like a scale is the best way that I like to teach it. Think about it as a scale, right? We got the 0 point, we got negative, we'll go down to 10, and then we've got positive 10, right? Something knocks you off that balance, you're at a -5, right? You're in crappy, shitty energy, all right? Your frequency has been lowered because you've been triggered. You then have a thought. That thought, then, whether negative or positive, that next emotion, whether negative or positive, will determine whether you move to -4 or you go down to -6. So the moment that you have the awareness to stop the negative energy within the feeling or within the mind, all right, you then have the embodiment or the tools like Handy Manny tool belt. I teach a lot of tools. Handy Manny's tool belt, all right? And you use one of your tools to move you into the divine energy of -4. You don't even have to try to get back to 0. The point is that you will slowly move back into that energy and slowly feel better to get back to 0 point or above 0 point. You always are either moving in a negative or positive reflection. We teach this as like the undertow, in the ocean, right? So you go into the ocean at one point, and then throughout the entire day, you're solid. You think you're ready to go for the day. You're prayed up. Your energy's clear. Somebody comes in, bam, says some shit, pisses you off. Your energy's heightened. You want to spout off, right? That takes you down. So it's exactly like the vibration of the undertow that sometimes you don't even recognize, that takes you 2 or 3 miles down the fucking beach block, And then you're sitting there and you're trying to get back. So this is why it's so important to now, in a sense, being spirituality rather than doing spirituality, because you're able to perceive and receive the energy a lot more and understand what's going on so that it doesn't knock you off that sense of gravity, so that you can continue to stay in the heightened energy of the vibration of Christos, pure divine love. Now, it doesn't mean that you excuse things, but what it means is that there's certain ways that you handle things today, all right, rather than into your own understanding. You now know and understand that you will receive. You don't have to be, reactive to those things at all. So you are now seeing how the energy in that reflective is working for you rather than against you. But this is because of the work that you have done. It's because of the perceptions. It's because of the emotional turmoil, the emotions that you have relieved yourself from, the forgiveness of other people for trespassing against you, and because of the fact is that you've released them from that emotional bond from you and prayed for their deliverance and their well-being too. That energy has no other choice but to respond and release you of that emotional embodiment too. So it goes both ways. So now you are seeing how much of the reciprocity of the universal energy and flow here is in divine order. It's been very hard for you to get to that process, and you're shedding. You're always going to be shedding. And it doesn't mean that things are going to come up and bother you. It means that you realize on a deeper pathway, on a deeper level, what the energy is that you have a choice to be in. Because the moment that you change your perception about something or your reflection about something is the moment that the universe responds to you and then gives you a choice. Then you choose. See, that's why you have to stay open. You have to stay open and receiving, because the universe will then give you a choice. If you're not open to seeing what those choices are in that reflection, and then you choose what way you want to go, what you want to do. So you are always, always, always changing your perception here and the devotion of what you know from within or what you're connecting to. So a lot of you are connecting to the higher spiritual plane here of the Christos, because it's not been about the third eye reawakening. That's for seeing on the seeing plane, and the four-sided plane, it's been reconnecting to the divine, which is Isis. It's what she's always been here as a universal knowledge and wisdom to tap into. But a lot of the energy of the embodiment in which you inhabited wouldn't allow you to connect into the pollinator of the divine wisdom, of the knowledge, and of the creation, because the neurotransmitters in the cells in the brain had been shut off for so incredibly long by many different things. Not just frequency, not just with what you fed yourself on a daily basis, not just what the energy was that you consumed. A lot of spirit, man, I have told everybody for a very long time, okay? There are many that that do understand what being spiritually targeted is, and I'm talking about death experiences, okay? Death experiences, all right? So when you have different levels of experiences of being targeted in multiple ways, in multiple pathways, in multiple dimensions, you understand that there's got to be something there. It's not just, it wakes you up. It shows you what's going on. So when you are a spiritually targeted individual, you don't even trust yourself, and that's the blockage. They've disconnected your soul. Like I said, the war was on your mind and the prize was your soul. Frequency turned to words, left your voice unheard. It's Babel. It's been Babel. It's the false god. And so all of these things and all of these unspokenness. And so you're reawakening up to the Christos consciousness, which is both masculine and feminine. And that is what they shut off over and over again, because that is the seed of creation. That is the seed of remembrance. And Mother Earth was never meant to be a way station. And when you start to remember the Christos within and the divine comprehension again of what's happening again, just in a different vibration and different representation, you understand why it won't happen again, and why the divine has said, this is the second sequel, you are my people. Time is not linear, time is not equal, and your frequency is not equal. I understand the love and the pretenses. Tell me all those people that fucking came against you and all of the negative energy and the demonic energy that we have, tell me they're equal to you in unity. No, but they serve the purpose to get you to wake up to unity within oneself. Your frequency and light were that of mine. This I had to teach you in due time, right? And so everyone learns as you go. You don't know what you don't know, and now you're re-remembering your blueprint. You're re-remembering your codes, right? You're just remembering all the places that you know and all the spaces that you know. A lot of people I've seen over the last 6 years on this app limit themselves in vibrations. Tell themselves, I am this, I am that, I am this star seed, I am that star seed. And I started thinking and I started asking the divine for a very long time, why is it that people limit themselves when I've said I am everything and everything is me? And what the divine showed me is many of you connect to, of course, a branch off of the Anunnaki, Arcturians, Lyrans, Syrians, right? Atlanteans, all of that. And I was like, well, I feel like I'm this, and I feel like I'm this, and I feel like I'm this, and I feel like I'm that. I don't relate to one thing. And the divine said, that's because you have the understanding that you are all things, but what's prevalent for that soul is that soul remembers that life the most, that timeline the most. That's the timeline in which they were closest to, that they last came from and inhabited from. But you are all of those pieces because you come from none. You come from nothingness, which is everythingness. So you have been all those pieces. The reason that you claim that the most is to give yourself an identity from which you came, because you lost the identity of the one true self. So you try to claim on to everything else. And once you have the understanding in the vibration that you are all things and you are nothing at the same time, you no longer limit yourself to outside things or try to grasp onto anything from the outside, because you understand it's all within. And that is the pretenses in which you are coming back to again. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Stella Wolfe. It's an honor and a privilege to be in service for over 22 years with the divine in many different pathways and many different times. I am the founder and CEO of Four Corners Healing 37, which is in a massive transition right now. And although I love you all, if you need anything from me, all right, as we transition through. Please don't be a stranger. Reach out. Everything that we do here on live gets posted on YouTube, but there's a lot of things that get posted on YouTube that don't get posted here. And the podcast will be starting. We have Divine Direction, so the podcast will be starting this coming Thursday. All right, and so we've been doing this back and forth for a little bit, and we've been asking reflectively through the Divine how we want the Divine for us to handle this, how they want us to do this, how they want us to bring this through. And so now we have Divine Direction in accordance with that. So we will see you guys soon and on the other side, all right? If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out, whether it be the link in the bio, link tree, email, cell phone, business phone, it's all there, all right? Please take care of yourselves and each other's and have fun in this new timeline, all right? Enjoy the leap and keep believing, all right? Because you'll keep receiving. I love you all. Till we meet again. Mwah.